Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for episode 4 of Zombieland Saga, one of my favorite shows, probably my favorite show airing this season. I like a lot this season. This is a really good season for anime, but Zombieland Saga is probably my favorite right now that I can think of, even among all the other great shows. But one thing that's going on right now is that I've been having some issues with some computer and audio issues, and I think I'm going to have to buy a new microphone, but at least for now, if the quality is a little bit all over the place, hopefully it sounds fine. It should sound fine, but we'll see how things go. So either way, let's go ahead, let's talk through this episode, and starting from the beginning, the premise of this episode is that the budget has run dry for Franchushu, and they're going to need to get a deal with some sort of company. In this case, Hisanaka Pharma, I believe they called them. They're going to have to do that in order to make money. They're going to have to get into business, so to speak. And these things, these scenes that we have at the beginning of each episode with Tatsuki and the girls, or Tatsumi and the girls, they are really fast-paced. And I said it last week, but especially with me not just watching, but also watching and trying to retain everything to talk about it later on, it's really hard to keep up with everything, and I keep having to pause or go back and hear/see things over again. These first scenes at the beginnings of the episode are really chaotic, really fast-paced, but I think it's generally a good thing. The fast-paced comedy seems to be the general style that this show has. So they have to cover for an act that dropped out and said they're not going to be able to make it to the company's business trip, and it's going to be at some hot springs, which is really great. They learn about the product that the company sells, Gunship Z. So I feel like that is a pun on Skinship and the name of the place they're from that's in the title, Saga, of course, because it was used for Skinship jokes later on. But Tatsumi ditches them to go sightsee once they get there, and the girls going sightseeing, all of that was really cute. And the entire time that's going on, Tatsumi is in an actual business meeting. So it was really funny that he's like, oh yeah, they're just working their butts off practicing right now, and they're actually not, just walks past him. But the company is trying to appeal to younger people, hence the idols. I love the scene that follows this, though, where the girls are just hanging around in the footbaths, and they start getting into things like the past, and how they're from different time periods, and how they even got revived to begin with. I like that we're getting things like this a little bit at a time, so it's not overdone or anything like that, but it is still developing. I'm glad that it's actually being brought up at all. And it ends up being a great character moment for basically all of them. So they get back to the hotel and start using the Gunship Z, which is basically power doping, and they threw it on all the people at the performance, and I really felt like that was going to lead to them getting into trouble for something, like they said you aren't supposed to use it on other people because it counts as practicing medicine. So they didn't get in trouble for that, so they kind of averted my expectations there. But during the performance, they used this 3D CG animation style again, but this time the quality of it was actually a lot better than it was last time, and last time it was kind of a jokey thing where they would pop into it when they were doing the idol performance and then pop out when they stopped performing, like certain characters would just pop out of it if they stopped performing. So it was used obviously as a visual gag last time, whereas this time you could maybe see it still being used as a visual gag, but this time it was more serious, and it was like, well, maybe if we're just going to do this joke again, we're just going to kind of downplay it and put it in the background. So that was interesting. Also, I really think the song is legitimately good. It's the same one that they did last time, and it sounds really good. So from there, Saki, Sakura, and Junco sneak into the baths. I really love Saki's delinquent accent, and I've really come to like her as a character. She might be my favorite character at this point, even surpassing the legendary Yamada Tai. because Yamada Tai has been in the background for a lot of the past 2 or 3 episodes, and used mostly for the jokes, but Saki has really pushed forward a lot of the character development, and pushed forward a lot of the story that's being told. So I've really liked Saki's role in the anime. Then we have the old lady boss goes into the baths, and of course Saki's plan is, we're zombies, we probably don't need to breathe, we can just sneak out underwater. Of course it doesn't work out. And the way they shot the entirety of the bodies in the bath, and then Tai and Lily in the hallway, all of that was really, really well shot. All of it looked really good, and it combined the horror elements in a comedic way that worked really, really well, I thought. So that was all really good. Then it ended again with them all coming together and growing as a group. More than any individual character getting a lot of growth, it's more of one of those things where the relationships between them grew this episode, which I thought was really, really good. Also, I was thinking this episode, I was wondering, like, just looking at their designs while watching, I was like, so is there any hint to how any of them died, like, in their designs? Because I was like, a truck accident, getting hit by a truck, does not really denote itself in any obvious way to Sakura, other than like a big scar on her head, I guess, where she hit her head. And then Yugiri, the only place we see that she looks injured whatsoever is a scar around her neck, so I assume she got beheaded. And then for the other girls, it's a lot less obvious. The only thing that seems kind of obvious to Lily is that she has the heart popping out of her chest, so I guess maybe she had an enlarged heart or died during heart surgery or something, and I know this is all really morbid. But it makes me curious if there is something hidden in the designs. For Saki, there's no like big injuries, but she has a bunch of like scars all down her arms and her face, so was she stabbed maybe? And then for Junco and for Ai, were they just thrown into wood chippers or something? Because they are like completely messed up. They are just like a bunch of body parts all sewn together. So they are like way off. And then Yamada Tai, she's wearing bandages other than her head, so we don't really know. But yeah, that just had me thinking. I was like, so is there anything in... Well, it was mostly Yugiri noticing that the only place she looks to have any injury is around her neck. Just made me think... So she looks like she was obviously beheaded, since that's the only obvious injury. Do any of the other ones have anything obvious that would be the way they died? But the two that, again, Ai and Junco really would make that stand out a bit, because they are just like cobbled together. But we get to see the preview for next episode, or promo for next episode, and it looks really, really good. Gonna be a lot of sports anime jokes. I'm really excited for that. Next episode looks like it'll be really funny. But for this one, I thought it was really great. I enjoyed it as always. I thought it was a really good episode for the characters. And like I said, it was developed, but not overdone. They didn't do anything cheesy or throw anything into one episode. It was just a good, slow burn where they all got developed, but I guess the big thing is that it didn't just seem cheesy. Like I said, what you would expect from a show like this, just getting thrown a character an episode to learn their backstory. But rather than do that, it's a lot more creative. I also thought it was really funny and enjoyable to watch. Again, probably the most enjoyable to watch this season. I really like the other two I'm reviewing, Index 3 and Slime Dataken. And I really like Anna Mayel and Tonari no Kyuketsuki-san. The comedies this season are really good. Radiant isn't a comedy, but Radiant's really good. But even among all of those, this is probably the most enjoyable to watch for me. And as a score, I'd give it 9.5 century eggs out of 10, because, again, it was not only really good, but also really fun. It had both going for it in a large measure. So I don't feel bad at all giving it nearly a perfect score. The only thing it didn't have to it that it could have, I guess, is more emotional stuff, but it didn't need to, obviously. So yeah, I was gonna say the century egg thing. I love the way the egg joke thing has been a constant running gag with Saki, where she was like, her first thing was, "Ah man, my Tamagotchi's probably dead," and she goes from there to, "You have an egg-shaped head, so you kind of remind me of my Tamagotchi," and then further from there, the past 2 episodes, she's still been referring to her head as egg-shaped. So I like that constant movement, and because of their color, she does look like a century egg now. So all that's really good. I hope you enjoyed the video though, so like if you did like the video. Comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Zombieland Saga, much more on the channel. If you want to talk to me or more of us on Discord, just ask and I'll give you a link. It's free and open for anyone. And if you want to, you can follow on Twitter as well, and I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel, or we can talk there about the show. I don't care. I'll talk to you wherever. But that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.